Atalji always knew me as happy. So, in fact, I remember once I had gone to meet him when he was Prime Minister. I sent him a note with my name, Piyush Goyal. And for about half an hour or 40 minutes, I was waiting outside his office. Soon as I walked into the room, he says, "Arey, happy तुम हो?" He, मुझे बताया क्यों नहीं? I said, "I sent you a chat." And he says, "Piyush Goyal कौन है?" He was that loving kinds, and रात को 2-3 बजे कभी meetings करके big campaigns and all, he would come home. मैं पाँव दबाता था, हाथ दबाता था. Can I be your hype man?
Sure, sir.
So let's look for seeing you as the most successful YouTuber in the country,
Thank
if not the world.
Thank you, sir. Or the first YouTuber switches to politics and gets mentored by Piyush Goyal to
That
like.
is an
run
interesting
the country.
proposition. You got me there. So let's go for Mr. Allahbadia joining politics soon.
I will say something slightly spicy in the end. I won't be surprised if at some point, Okay, cool. Another epic episode of TRS is here. This one is the first ever political interview that we're releasing on the Ranveer show. I'm sure you're going to enjoy it. This is with Cabinet Minister Piyush Goyal ji. This was a lot of fun because honestly, he came down to my level and spoke to me not like a cabinet minister, but kind of like a big brother. You'll know what I mean when you watch the entire podcast. My intention with political podcasts is to make it unpolitical, is to talk about development, is to talk about the future of India, and most importantly, it's to talk about the human behind the cabinet minister. Many more cabinet minister interviews are coming up thanks to TRS in association with my Gov. Make sure you stay tuned for all our upcoming episodes. Lots of cool stuff coming up. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, this is Shri Piyush Goyal, Minister of Industries and Commerce, giving his first ever podcast to yours truly. This one was fun. You're going to have fun and you're going to learn a lot. So make sure you watch it once again after you watch it for the first time, because there's a lot to learn from a political life. Piyush Goyal, sir, how are you?
Top of the world.
I'm very excited about this particular conversation.
Me too. I didn't know so much about your podcast till recently, and it looks to be an exciting format.
No, I'm very excited to be having this conversation with you because I have often seen you on television schooling some people, and schooling is always an outcome of a lot of data and experience. Every episode, I do a lot of research, and I can never bring up research points, but I can read between the lines of my research. The one thing that stuck out is, do you watch cricket by any chance? A little bit?
In the earlier days, now we don't get the time.
I would like to call you a bit of an all-rounder in this political world. You've handled so many different ministries, done so many different things.
Actually, that was a great opportunity because you learn so much, when you're moved around in areas which are technical, like power and renewable energy. Was very exciting when you're looking at sustainability and the new age energy sources. I got a brief stint in finance, which was great learnings also. Ran the railways, which was a unique experience, the largest employer in the country after the army and the paramilitary forces. So I think everywhere I gained a lot. I learned a lot.
How do you begin? Like, how does the studying begin? Say you're given a new ministry. Do you study for it? Like, where do you
No,
start?
we don't know. We get to know as the day starts. You get to know that you're now going to be looking after this ministry. But I think the trick of the trade is, the first rule I tell all my colleagues is, forget everything we've done in the past. Don't ever tell me this is how we used to do it. We look at everything afresh. I learn, you relearn.
Okay. Can I shift gears now?
Anywhere.
Are you happy in life?
I love it.
Yeah. What's the best and worst things about your life?
Well, I can tell you that I have two wonderful kids and a fantastic wife who looks after me and my kids like anything. And nothing could be greater than that, because that's kept us all together. She's made sure the kids study well, make a mark in life. are respected. She's kept the dignity of the family. So all that has been the best thing that happened to me. But of course, this opportunity to work in government for 9 years, it's probably the best thing that could have happened to me. It's something I always wanted right from childhood. Not coming into government or becoming a minister, but wanting to give back. It was ingrained in me at a very young age, and I think there can be no better medium than politics or public life to give back to society.
But then it's all worth it because every decision is affecting the country's growth in some way.
In some sense, not necessarily every decision, but you take a lot of decisions which can impact large part of the country, often even beyond. And that satisfaction is to die for.
Hmm.
Really, it's something that I've always craved, and the reason why I wanted to be in politics, and the satisfaction you get, let's say, when the prime minister announces that in COVID we're going to give double the normal food grain to 80 crore people free of cost, so that not a single child sleeps hungry, and you get an opportunity to actually run that program on his behalf under
Hmm.
his guidance. It's so satisfying, I can't tell
Do you think of the spiritual side of what you do? We're influencing so many lives at the same time through your work.
you. I am spiritual. I'm very religious also. I believe destiny decides for a lot of things for us. And clearly, if I'm able to do good for a large set of people, particularly our brother and sisters from our homeland, it is a lot of satisfaction,
Okay. There,
undoubtedly.
there's this urban legend which says that you were mentored by Atal Bihari Vajpayee and LK Advani when you were a child because your parents are also from the world of politics. Is it true that you got coached when you were a kid?
I won't call it coaching, but it's a very natural transition in your life. I could have been like any other kid, going to school, playing games, enjoying life. But due to the family background, we had this constant flow of senior leaders coming and staying with us at home, and you gradually become close to them. The other day, I was remembering in another program that Mr. Vajpayee used to come and stay at my home even before I was born. But one of those, but he was a very shy person. He was never very open and chatty and meeting up with people in the home. He would come like a guest, stay, and go away. But one day in the afternoon, I was playing marbles to myself. I was all alone. We had a wall to wall carpet, so it was easy to play marbles on that. And I was trying to hit a marble barely 3 or 4 feet away, and I was very bad at sports. Always bad at sports, any sort.
That's why we do so many podcasts today to make up for that void on the inside. That's why we take up so many ministries. No, I'm kidding.
And he came in, and he was nice and big in a lungi. He came in, he plonked himself on a puffy there. He took the marble from me, and something stick to your mind. He used the small finger. I still remember it, like as if it happened yesterday. And with this small finger on his knee, the thumb, and he goes 8 feet away, bang, hits the marble. And I think I became his fan that day. It was a day which made him very close to me. We started chatting with each other. There were times when people used to say that he's refusing to do a program, Piyush. Now you have to go and get him to do it. In fact, he didn't know my name till he became prime minister. He only knew me with my pet name. He just didn't know who Piyush Goyal is.
What was your pet name?
Happy.
Okay.
That also was
checking.
kept by somebody who would come home from within our RSS circles. And he saw me as a child in the cradle, and he said, "Oh, he's so happy. We should call him Happy." So my name became Happy. And Atalji always knew me as Happy. So, in fact, I remember once I had gone to meet him when he was prime minister. I sent him a note with my name, Piyush Goyal, went in. And for about half an hour or 40 minutes, I was waiting outside his office. And after 30, 40 minutes, I said, if he's not called me, maybe I should go. So I told his secretary that, look, I'm leaving now. I must have got surprised that somebody's got an appointment to come and meet the Prime Minister and he's walking away without meeting. So he said, give me a moment. He went in, came out. He said, you've been called inside. As soon as I walked into the room, he says, अरे happy तुम हो? He, मुझे बताया क्यों नहीं? I said, I sent you a chat. And he says, Piyush Goyal कौन है? So he was that loving kinds, and रात को 2-3 बजे कभी meetings करके, big campaigns and all, he would come home. मैं पाँव दबाता था, हाथ दबाता था. He used to really tire himself out. And those days there were no luxuries. You had to travel in a non-air conditioned Fiat car, driving 100, 200 kilometers to do public meetings late into the night, come home. So he used to be really tired and in pain. But he would always ask, how's the family? तुम क्या कर रहे हो? स्कूल में क्या हो रहा है? बाहर क्या लोग बोलते हैं? बाहर क्या बातें सुनते हो? स्कूल में बाकी बच्चे क्या बोलते हैं? He always was very keen to have a feedback, what the young people are saying, what I hear outside, what other people who come home are saying. So it became a beautiful relationship, almost till the end. And I think those memories are really something I'll carry with me all through my life.
What was his most special human trait that gave him that kind of a legacy, according to you?
He was very, very humanitarian. He believed that this country deserves better, that we can do so much more for the nation. He was a poet at heart, always. In fact, I remember once he comes home in the afternoon and gives me a diary in which he had probably penned down some poetry in the journey to Mumbai. And he gives it to me and he says, "Ye padho." And he left it with me. Now, Atalji as a poet was not one of those who used to always rhyme his sentences. And I don't know about you, but what we learned about poetry in school was you have to rhyme. You have to rhyme and then say dime or whatever. It has to rhyme. You say school and then you use another word which rhymes with school. Maybe fool.
Yeah.
But his poetry was not rhyming. So when he came back in the night, I said, Chacha ji, I used to call him Chacha ji, ये क्या लिखा है? उसमें कुछ समझ ही नहीं आ रहा है. वैसे भी उनकी हिंदी इतनी हाई फ्लाइंग थी, कुछ समझ ही नहीं आ रहा था. And he took it from me, just kept it aside. But it was that lovely relationship where I could tell him that.
But did you notice any fiery tiger style leader in him at all? Was there anything that gave that away? Or it was all on the inside?
He wasn't very fiery. He was a very fun-loving, simple man. Very simple life he led.
Okay.
But a deep thinker. I know that he used to be thinking very, very much about the nation, about what's happening in the country, what could be done better. He was always concerned that the people deserve better. And I think his unfinished agenda, frankly, Prime Minister Modi has taken forward very, very ably. And I get a chance to work with Mr. Modi and to contribute a little bit is a matter of great satisfaction.
Do you think you become better with age as a leader?
I think different people have different experiences. And within each person, you have both the good and the bad. So maybe some of your habits don't die. And with age, they get worse. But you also mature with age. You also sober down with age. You also start becoming more wiser or compassionate with age. So it's a mixed bag.
Like, probably the one thing that increases for everyone is empathy or compassion. Probably.
Not necessarily for everyone. I hope it would increase for everyone. The world would be a better place to live in. Certainly it has in me. Today also, when I recount that Mr. Modi is the first Prime Minister who thought of our sisters, our mothers, our daughters not having a toilet to go to. Half the country didn't have toilets until 2014.
Yep.
Now, so many governments came and went. Nobody thought about a simple thing like a toilet. And here you have a Prime Minister who spends nearly $20 billion just building toilets for the poor.
Hmm.
But imagine what a great matter of satisfaction it is to all of us that we protected the dignity of our women folk.
Yeah.
It's a small thing. People ridiculed him when he talked about cleanliness, Swachh Abhiyan, Swachh Bharat Abhiyan on 15th August 2014. But today we realize the game-changing dimensions that it has.
I think the long-term Swachh Bharat is also going to have a role to play in travel, which is then going to unlock even
Yeah,
so much more
sure,
money. That's
sure.
the big complaint we've had even on the show in terms of if all of India was just more hygienic, you'd attract a lot of people from all over the world to see our beautiful country, and there's so much to see. But is this whole tourism in order to make money a conversation that you guys have?
I'll give you a small example that will tell you all.
Sure.
You've heard of the Statue of Unity
Yeah.
in Kevadia,
Yes, sir.
Gujarat?
Yes, sir.
The monument in honor of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, which Prime Minister Modi built. When I first went and saw it, it's a absolutely scintillating experience. Just can't get over it. The museum, the whole facilities, the whole ecosystem that's developing around it. I'd gone actually to do the Bhumi Pujan, the groundbreaking ceremony for a railway station to bring rail connectivity, which we did in a record time to the Statue of Unity. When I came back, I went to meet him and I was telling him how much I enjoyed visiting the place. You know, the Narmada Dam in the background with water behind it. It's just truly awe inspiring. So while I was talking to him, I said, Sir, I can see that we could possibly have a 1 lakh crore ecosystem around it with tourists coming in and we can create facilities and also. He looks up at me and he says, Do you think I've just created a statue? Obviously, the whole intention is that we create the whole ecosystem. It's a tribal area. People will benefit. People will get work. People will get jobs. We'll have millions of tourists coming over there. We'll transform that whole area. And believe me, today we have millions of tourists going there a year, both national and international. You can't go to the top because it's full pack the whole day. Getting a seat onto the lift to go up is very, very difficult. Unless you book in advance, which is all, of course, technologically enabled online. But you can spend 3 or 4 days there and enjoy the whole experience. And I realized that Prime Minister Modi was actually thinking 3 or 4 steps ahead of what any of us imagined when we were all talking about the Statue of Unity.
Gotcha.
Similarly, when you look at Banaras, I don't know, did you get a chance to go to Banaras?
I have, sir. We recorded a lot of videos there.
Recently?
Yes.
With the new temple?
Yes.
Complex?
Yes, sir.
My God, have you seen it before?
I have actually. Yeah.
So you can see the dimensions of change there?
Yeah.
Now, I recently was told that the number of people who visit that temple is now 10x. And it's been only a short period of time, a year and a half now. This way it's going, I think we can set up probably 50 or 100 hotels in Banaras.
Yeah.
And it'll fall short.
Yeah. It's a bit of a rudimentary question, but I get this question from a lot of my white friends and my friends from Africa and Arab friends. They ask a lot about the jungles, the beaches, and the mountains. So is this also something you guys focus on developing?
Of course, it's biodiversity at its best in India. When the world is talking about sustainability, we have always believed in sustainability.
How do you convince the common man to be even more hygienic? I think that's the main kind of problem right now.
You know, it comes very naturally. You don't need to do much. Just keep the place clean for a few days. Okay. Nobody will ever dirty it. Okay. In this room, will you dare to, or will you even think of throwing something on the ground? You won't. But if there was a small pile of garbage there, while walking out, you wouldn't have minded a piece of paper or a tissue paper. You wouldn't, because it already looks like a garbage dump. The idea is we have to get the place cleaned up once. Maintenance of cleanliness is not very expensive. Okay. Human being intrinsically likes cleanliness. Yeah. Tell me, even the poorest of poor in the village also, he keeps his own village, his hut, his surroundings very clean.
Yeah. I feel there was a lot of wrong things that happened because of colonialism in India. Systems were messed up. Lots of things were messed up. And over the last 75 years, we've been cleaning up the mess. And now it's that final 20% that's left, where we're trying to undo mindsets, be it in education, be it even about hygiene. I don't think traditionally we're unhygienic. I don't know how it's gotten introduced, but it's my theory. Something's gone on there. Maybe it's a conspiracy theory. I don't know.
Well, I wouldn't get down to conspiracies on this. But yes, I think there was a vested interest in keeping India uneducated, keeping India unorganized, making sure the Indians don't start knowing about the good things of life. And that was a systematic effort over hundreds of years. जो गुलामी की मानसिकता की बात होती है. And I think Prime Minister Modi, all of us are very, very focused that we have to get rid of that colonial mindset.
Yes.
And a simple thing like even our graduation ceremonies, that may be good for the winter months of the developed world. But I don't see any reason to have that gown with the cap and all in this heat of India.
Yeah.
I think we normally graduate in April, May, June, that period, right?
Yes, sir.
We'd rather have a nice kurta pajama or angamvastra to graduate in. And gradually I see a lot of universities and colleges are doing that.
So as a YouTuber, I represent the youth primarily. That's my main demographic, and it's gradually changing because people like yourself are appearing on my show. I gotta share something I have learned. We have a Hindi channel as well, which we started 5 years ago.
Can I interrupt?
Sure.
I mean, you are pretending you're a youth. What about me? I'm very old.
He's just an elder brother kind of youth figure.
That's it. I thought you're almost making a father figure out of
No, not at all. You're a big brother figure. Is that okay? Okay, fine. So you get a top-down view of people through data on YouTube. And especially if you upload a lot of videos, you know what people are watching, you know what people are interested in. On a Hindi channel, it's almost now become difficult to create content for the common man because they're getting that much smarter. And this wasn't the case in 2016 when the whole Geo boom happened, when we had just begun. You had to start off content from the ABCs. And now they're writing full-fledged essays. And in some cases, the Hindi content is of a higher level than the English content. Because I feel urban audiences kind of reject a lot of conversation if it comes out of a brown person. But Hindi-speaking audiences lap it up because they feel relatability. So I want to ask you from your macro perspective, because you're literally running the country here. What's changed?
Try to think of it. How many people in India really speak English? It's a very small population which is conversant with English. We believe that in South everybody speaks English. It's not so. It's the elite and a small section of Southern India which speaks English. And of course, a certain section across the country. But if I remember the last census figures, whereas English was the natural language for nearly 70% people, English was not even in double digits. So I think it's very natural that the Hindi-speaking audiences are going to be more demanding. And I'm sure all of you YouTubers will be better off also.
Yeah.
Meeting the needs of the Hindi-speaking audience.
What are you excited about from the youth perspective of the country? Like where we're going in the next 10 years? I'm excited about entrepreneurship. I think that's going to take off a lot more.
But clearly, and because Startup India mission was launched by Prime Minister Modi in 2016, and it's housed in my ministry here, I see exactly what's happening. We have 100,000 startups today registered.
Yeah. Mine's a part of Startup.
Wonderful. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
We have over 100 unicorns. You are one in the making.
Yeah, one in the making.
And I see the dynamism of the youth when I connect with them, meet with them all over the country. It's so exciting. It's so rejuvenating to connect with them. Having said that, I think YouTubers are also playing a very important social role. Your focus on hygiene, for example, today is music to my ears. 7 or 8 shows like this on different YouTube channels, you'll get the youth also connected and thinking about it. I don't know whether the youth today, since they have not had to face many of the difficulties that, at my age or my parents' age, they had to face. For example, electricity. Now, youth today doesn't know what it is like to live without electricity. My father did. He didn't have electricity in his home. He would study under a street lamp. maybe by the time your father or I and my son or you came into adulthood, we didn't have to face the kind of difficulties Mr. Modi had to face as a child or our earlier generations had. The struggles of the partition, for example. Now, a lot of lessons we can learn from history. And YouTubers like you actually are playing that social role and very, very important contribution to society. That when you propagate the past, the present, you generate hope for the future. And I think that aspirational India, the 140 crore Indians, today, with their basic needs largely taken care of, aspiring for all the good things of life that they see on internet, that they see on your show, that they see on television, that's what is driving India.
Okay.
That's going to supercharge the future of India.
Just do more of what we're doing. That's
Do
basically
lots more.
okay. How do we work with the government to just help you guys? I'm gonna make a bit of a sharp statement here. I strongly believe you guys are gonna be in power for a very long time. So we might as well talk about a 5, 10, 15, 20-year plan. How do influencers like social media folks help you guys more to take the country further?
Don't help the government, help the country.
Okay.
Your job is to take care of the country's interests. And then you'll automatically be helping us, you'll be helping everybody.
Like entrepreneurship again.
No, now let me put it this way. First of all, we need to generate the confidence in our people. Every Indian should feel confident that together we can make India a developed nation. Now imagine if 10 of you at different forums talk about bold, big measures that we are all going to take together to make India a prosperous nation. It'll rub off on others.
Gotcha.
It'll excite people to do more.
Okay.
Integrity and a corruption-free India.
Hmm.
Suppose more and more of you talk about it. Giving a bribe is worse, if you ask me, than the guy who's asking for it. Make your voice vocal. Speak about it. Speak up against such people.
Okay.
Let's get the youth of India, encourage them to fight against corruption. Let's encourage the youth of India to go in for skills rather than just degrees.
Okay.
Let's pass on the message that there's no work which is demeaning. You'll have a Bill Gates son or daughter working in a McDonald's in America. There's dignity of labor. If we can spread the word of dignity of labor.
Gotcha.
I can continue on and on, but believe me, government cannot do everything. We are all in it together. And if we are all going to align ourselves, keeping only one basic fundamental in mind, that we are not going to fall prey to misinformation. We are not going to become proponents of misinformation. We are not going to start trying to appease a section of society or dividing society. We're going to be trying to get everybody connected and connected with hope for the future, with confidence for the future.
Okay.
No power on earth can stop India, my friend.
Okay. I carry the word of the common man. If you talk to say an auto rickshaw driver, and if I had to tell him that I'm interviewing politicians on my show, one of the first reactions is, "Arey, sab corrupt hote hain." It's like a very common stereotype. How much do you have to face this where people make assumptions about you guys? And how true is it? Like how murky is your world? I'm asking a very raw question here.
Well, every field has its good and bad moments and good and bad attributes. There will be a few black sheep in every profession. You can't wish them away. Obviously, you desire that they're not successful and they don't succeed in their ways. But we see all around us, whether it's in business, whether it's in politics, whether it's in the bureaucracy, so much so that it could be in every walk of life, including technology world.
Yeah.
Right? So when an e-commerce site, let's say, uses an algorithm and guides customers' choice towards one direction, whoever gives them the highest premium or highest commission, I think that's as wrong as is somebody else cheating the public in another way.
Yeah.
So I think in every walk of life, there'll be the good, there'll be the bad, and there'll be the ugly. life is not black and white, my friend. Several
Shades of gray.
areas. Yeah.
Okay.
And I think all of us should make our sincerest attempt to work towards purity, to work towards white. And it's very much possible. I've been in government 9 years, and I have the courage of conviction to say that I didn't have to stray even once.
Okay.
And I was able to take decisions boldly. I was able to take decisions which were at times very impactful, at times could be misunderstood, and very often, if not always, criticized by the opposition. But as Prime Minister Modi has given us that confidence, we have to stay the course.
Yeah.
We have to be self-confident. We have to believe in our abilities, our commitment, and our integrity. Then the pathway is very, very easy.
Yeah. The question wasn't in any means a jibe at you. It was just like
I appreciate. Politicians have earned themselves a lot of ill will. I think Mr. Modi is set out to try and improve things.
Yeah. I was asking you that question from the perspective of people my age wanting to get into politics and then fearing the shark pool. So tell us a little bit about the first steps in that shark pool.
When you first came on the show and did this podcast, I'm sure you must have been a little fearful also.
Yeah. Back in the day.
Second time.
Kept getting better.
It's the same thing.
Okay.
Everybody who desires to serve in public life will have a little bit of trepidation, some fears, some concerns. And I tell you, it's the honest people who are always more scared. It's not the dishonest who's worried. It's the honest who's worried. And I respect that worry. But I still believe we need lots and lots of good people coming into public life. You know, I don't know if by the time you learned computers, this was being taught at all. But when I learned computers, one of the first things they would teach us is garbage in, garbage out. The computer is only processing whatever you feed it. Politics is somewhat like that. If we were all good people, willing to engage with politics, willing to get involved, willing to work despite a lot of adversity, we can truly transform the future of India.
What's the
I invite you to join politics.
Maybe. If I find
Why
a mentor,
not?
you never. I had this.
I'm happy to offer myself.
Really?
Absolutely. If you are willing to look at society, look at your brothers and sisters in India, 140 crore Indians, as your responsibility, as people you care for, as people whose lives matter to you. I think you love being in politics. You can really contribute.
2 questions. One, I know that anyone in the world of politics is a very sharp reader of people. So you've read something and I want to know what you've read in me. 2, what is the basic skill set you actually need? Like there has to be some sort of basic potential energy there. Like Kohli, the first time he picked up a bat, probably hit the ball well. So what's the basic skill set?
I think, first of all, when it comes to you, I think your honesty shows, and you have a smile which is infectious. And in politics, both are very important.
Really?
Very important.
Like your look?
Not your look, your connect.
Okay.
Well, looks don't give you a smile. A smile has to come from within. And what people want are happy people. What people want are people who care for them. What people want is somebody who's empathetic to them, compassionate to them. You can do good politics, believe me. As can a lot of youngsters I come across these days. And I'm finding this increasingly becoming an area of choice for many youngsters. At the same time, continue your profession.
Okay.
Delve in politics, learn the ropes, but continue your professional career so that politics is not the means to an end.
Gotcha.
Politics should be your passion until you have enough for your family and your needs so that you can get full time into politics, which is why I'm able to do politics today, because I spent 30 years in the business world and am today self-sufficient. Same way, I think you don't need any great skill sets. You need to be true to yourself and the skill sets you pick up along the way. Oratory, for example. Usually you associate politics with oratory. I can tell you, I know so many politicians who were absolutely poor orators. Some almost till the end of their political career, but their sincerity pulled them through. Some who picked up oratory along the line. So your connect with people comes with from your heart. Your connect with people comes from your concern for them, your attitude to them, your being approachable to them. And naturally, people get drawn to somebody whom they trust. You have to earn their trust. That's politics.
What can go wrong in this journey? Ego.
Well, ego certainly can make you too big for your boots, and that's something one has to be very, very cautious about. Remaining grounded is very important. Good point you've picked up, my friend. What can also go wrong sometimes is circumstances. It can happen.
Luck.
I don't know so much about luck. Possibly yes, possibly somewhat destiny, but sometimes circumstances also can go wrong. Can be misunderstood. Something may happen because of which you are even wrongly or falsely in trouble. All of those things can happen.
Yeah.
Those are the risks of every profession. And I think in business also people fail. It's not that they wanted to fail when they got into it. It's not that they cheated or they did wrong, but circumstances sometimes create a problem.
Okay.
So I think there's no guarantee of success in anything, but certainly no guarantee that you'll fail also. So give it a shot.
Okay. This is the first time I've ever realistically thought of this, because on the show we've often spoken about how the way content creation is going, the capturing. I mean, I'm saying this, it is like me blowing my trumpet, but content creators are capturing huge masses of people. So at some point, at least a few of the content creators will want to shift to the world of politics and make a difference to the country in another way.
That'll be wonderful.
It's not a crazy thought, right?
Not at all. In fact, I would
Okay.
encourage you to invite people to come and maybe approach you. There are so many opportunities. In my office, for example, we have a lot of interns. We have a lot of young professionals, some of whom were here before the show started. We have a lot of them who would do very well in the private sector in their business life and the service, but they want to experience what public life is. They want to experience what working in government is, what public policy is all about,
Right.
how laws are framed, how government thinks. And it's a very interesting experience.
I would look at the entire cabinet as a bit of a team, PM Modi being a bit of a captain. How do you describe your own team? And I'd also definitely love to ask you, keeping sports in mind, comparing it to sports, sports has L's as well, losses. So if there's ever anything that goes wrong, what is the process? Like, do you all regroup and like talk about like a mistake? Like, do you all like what's the process to become better?
See, very often the important part is the planning aspect. How well you've thought through a thing before you've implemented it. And if you have really looked at a project in full detail, you normally don't go wrong so easily. But yes, there can be mishaps. You can go wrong on some project or the other. And you have to have the big heart or the gumption to accept it and move forward. Very often you have to take a step back also if you've gone wrong. And I don't think that's very unnatural. It's, in fact, if you feel you've never gone wrong, then that's something unnatural.
Does it psychologically bother you guys at all when the internet acts the way it does if something goes wrong? When people are like throwing arrows, etc., etc.
I think initially it does. Over a period of time, you learn to accept some of it as hazards of the job. What pains you only is when it's motivated or based on complete falsehood. It does hurt you a little bit.
Okay.
That, this is not what it is. This is not the truth. This is not what it was ever intended to be. Yes, that's not easy to accept.
Okay.
But otherwise, there are times when we have to take it in the spirit. There are times when you realize that everything hunky-dory and everything good may also not be very exciting for the world of internet and social media. They're like a little spice. So you will have to face flack.
Fear and
off and on.
negativity spreads faster. I have to ask you, Are you thinking about the 2030s and 40s? Like, do you visualize that number? Like, I visualize it on a personal level and I think of where social media is going, where the internet is going. I can't imagine how you guys think of those coming decades.
Well, I, for one, am convinced that India is on a roll. What we have in India is unmatched with any other part of the world. We have a democracy, rules based government, decisive leadership. We are transparent in our operations, which many other countries which have developed in the recent past are not. And the world today is looking up both to India and India's leadership. Look at the kind of accolades Prime Minister Modi is getting wherever he goes. Have you ever heard of an Indian leader being called boss? Or the world's most loved leader by the Italian Prime Minister? Some of the kind of comments the US Commerce Secretary the other day on a public platform was commenting on Prime Minister Modi's deep knowledge of technology.
What's the geopolitical angle here? Why are they doing this?
Well, I think they can see India as a very, very important emerging power in Asia, which is the hotbed of a lot of serious concern. B, for the first time after many years, they're seeing India with an absolute majority government and a strong, decisive leader who's leading 1.4 billion people to becoming aspirational Indians, asking for all the good things of life, which means there's going to be demand in India. There's going to be a big market. So they see a big business opportunity. They see a big investment opportunity. We in India also need that investment to be able to grow. We ourselves are looking to make India a $35, $40 trillion economy. We ourselves want to see that the most basic infrastructure across the country should be available to all. Every young child born in India should have access to clean water, electricity, a good home, family which has healthcare, which has education, all the basic infrastructure of connectivity around them, digital connectivity, physical connectivity, and with skills contributing to a better tomorrow for India.
Okay.
Now, this kind of an India is possible. And with the relentless pace with which India is growing, next 4 or 5 years, 7 years down the road, I see an India which will be like driving the world. We will be in the driver's seat.
Okay. Yeah, I have large hopes from the world of entrepreneurship. Again, I think that people don't know what's coming at them. When you talk to Gen Zs, people born after 1997, 98, it's just very different mindset, much larger scale thought. So good times are coming. At least that's the optimist in me believing so. And I think you're an
And I
optimist.
love that optimism. Keep it up. Never let it die.
No, for sure. You're very entrepreneurial, but I've gotten to know that after having this conversation with you. Like, there's actually an entrepreneur in you. And I think that's a part of the reason you've been given these ministries, because in some ways they are the ones that fetch a lot of money for people in the country and for the country in general. Do you think that's played a role? Your investment banking
It has
past?
hugely. I mean, right from the first day when I took charge in power or renewable energy and coal, I think both my education, the chartered accountancy and law that I learned as a student, my setting up a factory as an entrepreneur and a small scale unit at that. The project costs of my factory way back in the early 80s was only 19 lakh 80,000 rupees project cost. And the capital for that came from my father's pension, which he commuted, his superannuation funds, the pension, the provident fund, gratuity, leave encashment that you get after 30 years of service. That became my capital, which he was kind enough to give me, with which I started my small scale industry. All those lessons that I learned in the first 20 years of my life, running an industry, growing it from a small scale to a mid scale, the labor trouble I went through, the banking crisis I went through, all of that helped me learn, all of which is coming in good use today. My investment banking stint of 14, 15 years helped me learn the world of finance, understand business, understand importance of uh, good management practices. And I think collectively, this experience is my biggest asset today.
Okay. You're a lot of fun to talk to as well. Like, I'm able to flow with you. I don't know whether it's a Bombay Connect. I think it's just two Bosco boys like connecting a little bit. So I'm having a lot of fun talking to you. I'm learning from you. There's a basic question I've had that I wanted to ask you from the start of this conversation. Mainly for the 13-year-olds watching this podcast, studying civics. What is a day in the life of a cabinet minister like? Is it a full barrage of like problems and strategy thrown at you? Because there's no way you know how a train exactly works, even though you're a railway minister. So there's got to be experts around you. Wherever there's experts, there's problems. That's what I'm assuming. And there's just a constant stream of tasks.
You have a lot of personal life also. So don't ever imagine that we are just like machines.
Really?
So my morning tea with my wife, with almonds and fruit, and the news with the 20 different newspapers and the television blaring away is a must do. Can't start the day without that. Fortunately for me, and I think your viewers or listeners will also be commenting on my voice, I've had a throat problem all my life, probably hereditary in some sense. But during COVID, it used to be probably worse. And one day, sitting with the Honorable Prime Minister, he said, "You want to sort out your problem?" I said, "Of course." And he says, "You got to do yoga." And I still remember it was 16th of July 2020. Going to be 3 years now. He got me hooked onto yoga,
Really?
pranayam, and it's really been a game changer.
Even as a professional, it's probably benefited you?
Yes, because while you are doing all those asanas and pranayam and all, you don't have any other time to think about anything else. You're just following the instructor's directions. So it gives you a little bit of a peaceful time that kind of meet my time, And post yoga, I'm a little religious, as I told you. I would have ideally liked to say my prayers, but it's always difficult to catch that in the morning. Then you are on the work trail, then you are on a crazy schedule. And
For how?
that's where I mess up. I mean, my lunch is at 5 o'clock in the evening sometimes. Dinner would be, I just had dinner before the show because I've got to go back home. I'm technically on antibiotics. And if I hadn't had that dinner, I would probably not be going back home tonight. So it's a natural family life like anybody else's. But during the day, it's a lot of work to catch up on, a lot of public engagements, a lot of meeting of people. When Parliament is in session, you're busy with Parliament. You're traveling very extensively throughout other parts of the country, even internationally. All of that is work. But then I don't sleep without saying my prayers. Wherever possible, I'll do my treadmill before I sleep. If it's too late in the night, I'll at least walk for about 45 minutes.
And now you can start listening to podcasts on the treadmill.
I listen to bhajans on the treadmill.
Okay.
So that also I've made as a routine. So that way I have to do it. It's made sure that I do my treadmill every day.
Okay.
Because I'm listening to the bhajans.
Gotcha.
And before I sleep, almost every night, thanks to COVID, there's a habit I picked up in COVID, and it's been a great habit. We watch one episode of any serial on the OTT platform. Very chilling, very relaxing. We watch some wonderful stuff on television. My wife and I, my kids are out, so we're just the two of us. It's our chill out time, but you sleep very peacefully because you've kind of got over the whole day's work. You enjoyed about 30 minutes or 40 minutes of television. I have just concluded The Rocket Boys. And I think that's a lovely day well spent before you get up the next morning.
Do you look back at your entire political career as having one difficult phase? Is there some difficult phase you look back to and you're like, okay, that was challenging and character building? Is there anything like that?
Yeah, you have those times. Yeah, those
If you
guys.
highlight it, it'll be picked up by marketing agencies who'll use it against you, right? Like that's what I'm assuming.
It'll involve personalities, and it goes back so far behind. And most of them are, in any case, not here. So it doesn't make sense
Okay.
to discuss
Okay.
it.
As you carry your career forward, you get better with the media, right? Because that's what happens in a YouTuber's life for sure.
Well, that's for the media to judge. Really, I cannot.
You're getting better with the media. Okay, fine, fair. This is why I'm saying I'm having fun talking to you. What I will say, I think we're almost at the end of this particular episode. So, how was your first podcasting experience?
It's actually the first. I've never
Okay.
done it before.
How-
And doing it with a kid, if I may call
I'm
you
30,
one.
so I'm going to turn 30 in 2 days. But
You'll have
it's
to gray your hair a little bit or something to look like 30.
it's all the yoga. It's
You
all
do
the
yoga also?
yeah, lots.
Oh, wow.
I listen to bhajans on the treadmill. Not on the treadmill, but I listen to bhajans in the morning, in my shower. I listen to Bajrang Baan, if like that's something you're familiar with.
Wow.
Any.
No, I listened to Aditya Hriday Stotra and Durga.
Oh, Piyush Goyal, sir. Thank you. This was fun.
Thank you. It was really wonderful. Wonderful meeting you.
Likewise.
And wish you all the very best. Do well in life.
Thank you, sir.
God bless you.
Thank you so much. Just learning from you guys. This was my first true political podcast. Couldn't have asked for a better guest. I hope to talk to you for a longer chat at some point in the future. I will say something slightly spicy in the end. I won't be surprised if at some point, okay, cool. I won't say that then. I will just say thank you. And I really appreciate it.
Thank you. And all the best. And look
Yes.
forward to meeting you
Yeah.
again.
There's a character kind of thing that friends used to describe me. It's called hype man. I'm a hype man. I say, yeah, you got it. So pardon this last bit is me just being my natural form as a hype man.
So otherwise you were nervous?
No. Hype man is hey, you're going to be a billionaire. You're gonna be the opening batsman for India. That's hype man.
Wow.
And
That's good.
every group needs that. So the kids who don't get a hype man around them growing up have to be their own hype man. Therefore, the hype man for other
So
people.
can I be your hype man?
Oh, sure, sir.
So let's look for seeing you as the most successful YouTuber in the country,
Thank
if not the world.
Thank you, sir. Or the first YouTuber who switches to politics and gets mentored by Piyush Goyal to
That
like.
is an
run the
interesting
country.
proposition. You got me there. So let's go for Mr. Allahbadia joining politics
Yeah.
soon.
And making India richer. Cash money, baby.
Let's make the people of India richer.
Yeah.
How does that sound?
100%.
Yeah. If the people of India are rich, the country will be rich.
Yeah. I've done enough geopolitical podcasts to understand that the game is actually money oriented. And I've done enough life podcasts to know that the game is secure yourself with money. That's my intention always as a YouTuber, that anyone watching this should gain value in one of the two directions. Either help the country in some way or help your wallet in some way. It is important.
And well, if you can help them get a purpose in life, both these dots will connect even better.
Okay.
Think about it.
Little stumped, but okay, fine. I'll think about it. And that's a great place to leave off this conversation.
Thank you.
Sir, appreciated. You were very easy, very chill to talk to. You're my father's age, but what I will say is I felt like I was talking to a big brother. So appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank
very
you so
much.
much.
All the best to you.
Yeah. You too. Kind of count this as a little bit of a career achievement. I never thought I'll be bringing politicians onto TRS because I always looked at the world of politics a little intensely. I thought it would be too intense to talk to politicians, and that stereotype, that false narrative kind of broke when I actually got to speak to the cabinet ministers that I spoke to. Trust me, some incredible episodes are coming up. Thanks to MyGov helping us crack these episodes. TRS is going to reach a new level. I promise you, lots more content coming up with politicians. Please give your feedback on this episode. The political podcasts have only just begun. And finally, I want to thank Piyush Goyal, sir. Made me feel very comfortable. To be honest, for the first time in a very long time, I was slightly nervous as a podcaster. But he helped in dissipating that nervousness just a tiny little bit. Lots of love to him. Lots of gratitude to him. And lots of love and gratitude to you, the viewer. Thanks for all your support. TRS is only just getting started.